Hey, what's up everyone? This is Snackbox. Hope you all are having an amazing day, guys. In today's video, I want to talk about the Void Crown Arena tournament that just took place on Friday and Saturday. We had an amazing time. All the content creators were fighting each other in this tournament. And yeah, we had an absolute blast. Everyone was having fun. Got a lot of positive feedback. So thanks you guys for tuning in and subscribing to my channel. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, I just want to talk about it a little bit, maybe react to some of the fights, give you my thoughts, also what was going on, through my head during the picks and the fights. And yeah, I mean, there were some close ones in there, some really close fights. RNG was definitely on my side a lot of times, but also against me sometimes. I have to say that as well. And a couple mistakes were made, which I'm also going to address. And yeah, I learned a lot. I learned really a lot about my account, about how I should play, also, decision making, and about the others as well. So yeah, I get to know some of these content creators, which I only watched, on YouTube. So that was definitely a nice experience to, also talk to them. Obviously, I knew Nubs, for example. We did a collab previously, and also we text sometimes. But yeah, overall, just connecting with other like-minded persons, that was definitely awesome. It was a lot of fun, and I had a lot more success than I expected, to be honest. Okay, so before we jump into the fights and everything, I want to give a huge shout out to the Void Crown Arena team. You guys did an amazing job. I already said it on the live stream, but man, that was so good. I was so positively surprised by all of this, how it looked, how it went. Obviously, sometimes there were like minor audio mistakes and so on, but that happens. It's the first time these guys are doing something like this, and for that, I think it was, better than anything that I expected, and it was so much fun. And I think the viewers also had fun. The whole community had fun watching this. Content creators clashing their heads in live arena. Yeah, that was amazing. Okay. Also, shout out to Ash for sponsoring this, and everybody that is behind the scenes. There were a couple people putting a lot of work in and effort to make this happen. So I also want to give them the flowers. And yeah, amazing job, guys. And I really love it. So in case you don't even know what I'm talking about, this is their official website from Void Crown Arena. Young Kruyen and other people put this stuff together, and you can pretty much host tournaments on this website for people to play live arena against each other, and with prizes. Also without prizes, you can set conditions and so on. You can do whatever you want. You can do so many things on this website, which is an absolutely amazing asset to the whole community, especially the PvP guys, but also the ones that don't really like to play PvP, but maybe they want to watch PvP. Okay, so it is one of the best things that happened to Raid in a very, very long time, because it brings the community together and we can all connect through this. Okay, so absolutely amazing, and the website also looks very, very clean. And yeah, you can check out the tournaments here. You can log in, create your account, and so on. Also join the Discord. I will put everything in the description below. Make sure to check it out if you want to participate in tournaments and so on. Make sure to check out the Discord and the website. Create your account, and you're pretty much good to go. Now on Friday we had this Teleria tournament starting, which was sponsored by Ash. And he was so generous to put up a $1,000 prize for the first place, which goes to charity of the choice of the winner, right? So the winner can decide which charity these $1,000 go to. And yeah, shout out to Ash for doing that. Absolutely amazing. And here were the final results, and you can pretty much look up the whole tournament bracket. There is a winner's bracket, and it's pretty much a knockout scenario. So the first guy that wins moves on to the next round, right? And from round 3, there's the best of 3. So whoever wins 2 goes to the next round, right? And if you lose, you're not instantly out. You move to the losers bracket. And then if you keep winning there, you can come back to the winners bracket. Okay, so the winner of the losers bracket at the end will fight against the winner of the winners bracket for the grand finale. And we had all these amazing content creators here. Okay, we had Nubs, MTG Jedi, Jacob. I hope I'm saying your name right. We had Victor in here, Kenpachi, Riddick. Then Scratch was in here as well. Palomas, Nevis, Nightless, Shinny, Raidcito, and Chaz Up. So yeah, a very diverse setup of content creators. And I was familiar with most of them, but not with all of them. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see them in action and also to connect with a couple of these people. And yeah, I really appreciated that. So yeah, let's talk about the first fight. So that was against Nubs. And the first fight of the whole tournament was me against Nubs. So let's check it out. So yeah, this is Yang and Kruyen, and they hosted pretty much the whole thing. Kruyen was also fighting and hosting, so he had a lot to do, right? And yeah, so here we can see me and Nubs going into the battle. And I want to talk about the picks real quick because, when you play live arena, most of the times the fight is already decided in the pick phase. You can definitely win the fight there already. Okay, so I know for a fact, and this is also a big part of why I was as successful as I was, because I, to a certain degree, know what champions these guys have and what I can expect, and also not to the smallest detail, but I can guess what kind of speed I can expect at what area and so on, because Nubs is one of the most popular content creators in Raid, and obviously I watched some of his content, and I know, for example, that he has a Bayek, he has a Fabian, but it doesn't have a Krixia. So in my mind was, if I pick Fabian, I kind of take away his lockout, and he can't pick Krixia, right? I have both, so that was kind of like why I picked Fabian and Marius first. Also, Marius has that increased accuracy. I built him with a bunch of accuracy, and I know he had Bayek, and I didn't want him to pick Bayek because I would probably ban Bayek. Okay, that's kind of like why I picked Fabian first here. He went with Predator with the first pick. He had the first pick, went with Predator, and Predator is one of my best build nukers on my account. So he kind of took away my best weapon there, which was a good call. And you know how Predator is. His RNG is annoying, right? If you face it, if he's on your side, then you love it. But it is what it is. Okay, so yeah, I went with the high accuracy nukers that I have, so he doesn't pick Bayek. That was kind of like my thought and my strategy how to approach this. And yeah, he went with Hilvi. I expected that as well. I know he has a 9-piece Mercurial Hilvi, so I expected that as well. And Marius and Karnage are probably the best champions to deal with Mercurial. Okay, they have both. For one, Marius attacks out of his turns with the counterattack from his passive. He has that AoE attack, which is a triple hit. And we have Karnage that counterattacks out of his turns, right? With his A1, which is a 2-hitter. Then he has a triple hit on an A3 as well. And yeah, I mean, those two are probably the best champions that I can use against Mercurial when it comes to nukers, okay? So he picked Lazarius. I also knew he had a Lazarius. I didn't know exactly how fast that Lazarius is, but I thought like maybe my Fabian is going to outspeed him with the Karnage aura. So if he bans Fabian, I have Shuzan, and I know like most likely my Shuzan is going to be faster. But if he bans Shuzan, maybe my Fabian can still cut it with the Karnage aura. And yeah, that was kind of like what I was thinking by picking these champions and going into this. So he banned my Shuzan, I banned his Predator because I really didn't want to face his RNG in the first round, right? I didn't want to risk that, and that's why, you know, I got rid of him. I'd rather face a nice that doesn't evade all the time. And yeah, his Lazarius was faster, okay? I don't know if he has a relic or something, like a speed relic, but this right here decided the whole fight, I think. He swapped forms with Lazarius, and my Marius put the Enfeeble on from the counter attack, which is a 50% chance, right? So it was 50-50. Because if Lazarius now kills my Fabian, okay, he will lock out my whole team. And the thing is, now with the Enfeeble, he had to use the AoE attack to remove that Enfeeble, okay? He kind of cleanses himself and then he attacks. That is why my Fabian survived, okay? That is why. If it wasn't the Enfeeble, if he didn't have the Enfeeble on Lazarius, he could have used the A3, I think it is. So yeah, as you can see, the A3 on Lazarius attacks one enemy 2 times, will ignore shield buffs, and also 30% of the target's defense, so there would be no chance for my Fabian to survive that, okay? But because Marius was putting up that Enfeeble, he had to use the A2, which also ignores shield, but it doesn't hit as hard because it doesn't ignore extra, defense, okay? So that's why my Fabian was able to take the hit, but he had to use this skill because it removes the Enfeeble before he attacks, okay? And it also increases his attack by 15%, so he had to do it, right? My Fabian survived. That was, you know, from there, I had a huge advantage because I was able to lock him out. Only not Donny, which is fair. That's why he picked him, right? He can now reset his team. So he's a very, very good pick against Fabian and Kruysen as well. If you have enough resistance, it can definitely win you fights. I also have mine, you know, planned out on how to build, but I still need, you know, Ascension stuff and glyphs, and you know how it is. All right, so yeah, from here, you know, I just try to take them down. I knew Here Nice will attack when I attack, so I didn't want to lose my stone skin by getting that extra turn. I also knew Donny has so much resistance, I will probably not strip his stone skin. So I just went with the A2, took no damage from Nice there. And here Karnage puts up the block active skills. Karnage is probably one of the most underrated champions right now. He's so amazing in this current meta with Mercurial, with all these champions that have passives. You know, he can just lock out the entire team, and he's pretty much a free-to-play champion, right? Let me actually make this a little bit bigger so so maybe you can actually see what is happening there. All right, like this. Looks good. Okay. So yeah, I managed to hit that block active skills on Nice, which gave me enough time, you know, to regroup, to stay alive, and, you know, wait until the Nice runs out of block damage, and then to kill him. But, you know, things don't go always as you expected. And here again, Enfeeble, definitely huge for me. The fear didn't proc, which, you know, it's okay. When I have fear, it procs always. We all know that feeling when you have the fear on your champions. It like you can't do anything, but when the enemy team has fear, you know, in this case it worked. And now, yeah, I thought to myself, like, all I have to do now is nuke them. But you know, when you can't really say that against a Nice. All right, never underestimate a Nice. Look at this. I mean, I hit him for like hundreds. I don't know, what was it, like 140, 150k damage, and he survived, okay? He survived. I mean, look at Nub's face. He's like, oh shit. And And look at me. I'm like, no way. That can't happen. That's not possible. What the hell? And yeah, that's a very bad situation because I don't have any protection on Fabian, Marius, or Karnage other than increased defense, and that's not gonna save them from his AoE attack. Okay, Fabian didn't lock him out, and even if he did, he probably has his skills ready, and boom, his whole team was back up, and I was like, oh man, no way, no way. And yeah, luckily though, I had the revive on Theodosia. Lazarius had a turn, but man, that was such a crazy comeback, and I was like, F, right? F, bro. Like I might lose this now, but yeah, Karnage with the counterattacks, getting rid of Hilvy's total guard stacks. That was absolutely amazing, and that's why I love Karnage. You know, he's just attacking all the time. It doesn't matter if he gets attacked or somebody else, he always has that chance to counterattack, which is huge. And yeah, here, Nice removed the decreased defense of my Marius by dealing damage, and from my passive. The passive was actually not the passive. The masteries was actually what removed the decreased defense because I lost more than 25% HP. And yeah, now the enfeeble back on Nice. And from here, I thought to myself, okay, we're back. We're back. Now I just need to take him down. I have the unkillable. He can't really deal with unkillable. He could swap back to his normal form, but then Marius would A1 and maybe enfeeble him again, and or maybe even kill him. So I think he didn't want to risk it. And yeah, I had the max HP hits ready again, and there we go. We got it done in the end. I was super happy, man. It was so close. Shout out to Nubs. It was so close and a fun match. For the first match, also 4 minutes. It's pretty long, actually. 4 minutes for a live arena match, and yeah, that's the power of a Nice. Okay, that's the power of a Nice. He just, almost turned the whole match around when he was the only champion alive. And yeah, what an absolute beast. And once again, GG's to Nubs. That was a really, really fun match for me personally. And I think for everybody else watching too. So I'm going to show you throughout this video my builds and everything. I usually don't like to do this because I don't want people to know what I have and don't have, but now it really doesn't matter. I mean, you can just look it up on the live stream and you will see all my champions and so on. So I might just, give away what I used there and what I think was the deciding factor. And in this match, I believe it was definitely Theodosia. Because she was able to revive and with that unkillable and stay alive with the Mercurial. I have her in a 9-piece Mercurial set, and it makes an absolute tank out of her. She's just surviving, and yeah, these are the stats. So she's relatively fast with 354 speed, which I definitely want to be with a 9-piece Mercurial set. So you get that total guard stack over and over again, right? The faster you are, the better, in my opinion. I almost hit 100k HP. I can probably hit it once I ascend the gear and everything and glyph it out properly. And then with a 3-star blessing, my defense would be much higher. Right now it is, at almost 3.5k, which is relatively low for a live arena. You want to be around like 4.5 to 5k in the best case scenario to be really tanky, but 3.5k is really not good. Okay, so once that total guard stack gets removed, she's kind of squishy with that amount of defense. 649 resistance, definitely not something that would help me in most cases, but sometimes it does. And yeah, I mean, I don't have a 5-star soul, so that would help, and I could probably get her to like 700 resistance right now, but I would like to hit like 800 That's like the sweet spot, and everything above that is amazing. The best case scenario is like 900 plus, or maybe even more. But you know, it never hurts to have some resistance on your revivers, and this is the relic that I'm using on her, the Volcardiac Heart. I have these 2 mythical gemstones in there that reduce the ignore defense effects, which definitely helps to keep her alive. When attacked with multi-hit skill, decreases the damage the wearer receives from each subsequent hit after the first one by 10%. Also amazing, right? Another damage reduction gemstone. And then this one right here is probably one of the most underrated epic gemstones because it destroys the attacker's max HP, and we have so many strong HP nukers. Nice, Predator, Embrace, right? So with destroying their max HP, they deal less damage, and with Mercurial and the total guard stacks, you can take more hits, so you will destroy the max HP even more than you would without Mercurial set. And that's why I really love this gemstone, and I think it's, you know, one of the best ones if you face HP based nukers. And I know that I'm gonna be in like a lot of fights with Nice because I don't have him, so I can pick him, right? So I don't ban him usually, so I'm already in that mindset that I'm gonna face him. Okay. Then she's obviously completely booked. I only have a 2-star blessing, and Lightning Cage is probably the best choice here. Other than that, oh yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is that I have absolutely no accuracy on my Theodosia. That's why you probably didn't see me swap forms with her. It wouldn't make sense because everybody can resist that. But that's just the Mercurial gear that I have. You know, I probably have to wait for better gear, and maybe a 5-star soul at some point or higher. That would be amazing. And then I can get that accuracy up a little bit at least, and maybe start using her second form a little bit more. But yeah, that's why I stayed in the first form most of the time. And yeah, completely booked, like I said. And these are the masteries. So I don't know if they are perfect or not. I don't think so. But what I really like about this is the lasting gifts, because on her A2, she puts up that stone skin, and if you have lasting gifts, she can, you know, put it up for 2 turns instead of 1 turn, which gives you an additional turn to survive. And that is definitely something that can win a game, because if you get locked out for some reason, but you get this skill back, or if you revived and your revive skill is on cooldown, and you know your champions die again, but you have like 2 turns cooldown still on the revive, and you put up a 2-turn stone skin, it gives you a higher chance to survive until your revive is ready again. So that is definitely something that I figured that is really important on Theodosia, to have this to make sure she can survive long enough. But then also the additional accuracy and all of this helps. And I went for Unshakable, which I could probably change since I'm not really resisting a lot, right? Most Fabians will lock me out anyway, but yeah, it's just, it's, you know, that's what I use. That's it. I think, you know, probably, you know, a better choice would probably be this right here. So increases this champion's turn meter by 20% whenever an ally hero drops below 25%. I think this would definitely also win some fights, because you take more turns, right? You take more turns, you get more turn meter. Once your allies die or drop below 25% HP, and with her, you know, when you revive, you have that unkillable, so they will drop below 25% HP but not die. So, you know, it's kind of an interesting thing which you can consider on her, and I think that would be an amazing mastery as well. So in the next fight, I was up against Jacobo. I think that's how you say it. I'm not quite sure, so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. But yeah, so one thing that I would like to change, or like that, you know, if they could do the adjustments, is that you don't see the roster of the players, because it made it really easy for me to, you know what champions he has. I mean, I already knew it, but at the same time, it kind of gives it away a little bit if your screen is shared and you see what champions the other guy have. So that's one thing that I would like to see changed in the next tournaments. If they can somehow do it, that would be amazing. But if not, I mean, it's still cool. It's still cool, but I would love to hide those, those champions, so the opponent can't see what champions this guy or like you have. So Jacobo was in my cluster for quite a long time, and I also checked out his content. He's from Spain, so I don't really understand Spanish, so I'm not really watching his content. But sometimes I sneaked into his videos and just was looking at what champions he has and he's using, and I knew he has a Theodosia, so in my mind was his best reviver and support is Theodosia. I'm just gonna pick her. And I also know he doesn't have a Krixia, so I'm gonna pick Fabian as well. You can also see he has an Odin, Lamassu, a 6-star Lamassu, a very fast Lamassu, Garo, a very dangerous Garo, and also Karnage and so on. So yeah, in my head, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with Fabian and Theodosia, two of his best supports. And yeah, I knew he didn't have another, very strong reviver. So yeah, I picked Theodosia because of that. And he went with Garo and Predator, and he kind of like went with all damage dealers except one, which kind of gave me a lot of freedom to do whatever I want, kind of, right? Like I knew if I ban his Lamassu here, I pretty much have freedom, right? I have a lot of freedom. I'm going first. He doesn't have a speed aura. Lamassu is his only speed aura, and I will go first, right? So that was kind of like what was going through my mind, and that's why I also banned his only support, which was Lamassu. And yeah, it worked out pretty well. I also expected either his Marius or Garo to be in Mercurial. That's why I picked Necrit here and Karnage. And also, I don't have many other nukers, to be honest. He picked Marius and Predator, which are my most used nukers, and then Karnage and Ambris are like my next two picks if those are gone. So I went with Necrit as well. I was debating if I should go with Shuzan here, but I didn't really have anything to one-shot his team. Like with Marius, I would probably go with Shuzan here. So yeah, I went with Necrit. So for one, it's protecting against Commodus, but also I can get rid of Mercurial with Necrit. But he banned him. That was a good call. But anyway, my Fabian locked him completely out, stripped down the stone skin, and from there it was pretty much GG. Obviously, Predator could have evaded, and then the story would have been different. But, he didn't, and that's sometimes how it goes with Predator. Sometimes the RNG is on your side, and sometimes it isn't. He weak hit on Ambris, which was another thing that I expected or played around with. If you face Commodus, Force Affinity is your best friend, okay? Mercurial and Force Affinity, pretty much. And yeah, his Garo, had the total guard stack and Stormcaller, so a very, very good build, right? A Garo with Stormcaller is very, very annoying. His Predator got one kill here, but he's going to kill himself as well. And I will just revive after that, okay? And then from there, I'm going to take them out slowly. Actually, Predator survived the reflect. But yeah, that's... He can't really do much here anymore. Karnage will just get rid of the total guard stacks, put up the block passives. Predator won't evade because his passive is blocked. Block revived him. Commodus' passive is blocked as well, so he won't deflect debuffs, which is what he does on his passive, I believe. And yeah, that was pretty much it. So that was a pretty straightforward fight, and I think it also was decided in the picks already because I picked his best reviver, which was Theodosia, and his lockout champion, which was Fabian. So this is the Fabian build that I used for this tournament. Actually, I just rebuilt him for this tournament. I got rid of the stone skin, made him as fast as I can with, enough accuracy to lock out most champions. 700 accuracy is, enough to lock out most, unless they have super high resistance. Obviously, you will have a hard time against like 800 plus resistance. But I rather have a very fast or like a faster Fabian, not a very fast, but faster Fabian. And once I get a 6-star soul, he will be a little bit more faster, so that will definitely help. And also the 6-star intimidating presence on him will help. And I can also push some more accuracy from Ascensions. But yeah, overall, I really like this build. I mean, he has a quad accuracy roll on those speed boots. I really love that. Then I can definitely get another accuracy glyph in here on this triple roll, and then I even run a defense banner. It has a quad speed roll, so that's why I'm using it, just for the speed. I wish it was accuracy, right? I would hit like 800 accuracy almost if this was an accuracy banner. I also have to change the Ascension if I'm going to keep using this on Fabian, but I used this for a very long time on my Siphi, so yeah, I'm not using Siphi anymore, so this might get, I might change this to accuracy at some point. And I have the Temporal Stagnator on him, which is pretty cool if he weak hits. And these are the gemstones, the various accuracy increases. I mean, this is, I think, from when I was using this on Krixia, because this doesn't really help him that much. He's not removing buffs, he's decreasing the duration with his A3, so, this doesn't affect that at all. So I definitely have to use some better gemstones in here, but I didn't want to use too much Starstone. We all know how important Starstone now is and how rare to come by, so I didn't want to use that much. Completely booked, obviously, Intimidating Presence, and then here are the masteries. This is actually something that I haven't changed for a very long time. I changed those masteries once for Faction Was Hard to get the Leech, because I didn't have a Leech champion on the Undead Hordes faction, and he was the one that was placing Leech with Fear, and that's how I was able to do one condition. And since then, I never changed the masteries, but that's what I used basically in this tournament. Now let me check what would I use in terms of gemstones. I mean, this could be quite cool right here. Expeditious Exploitation, which increases the wearer speed for each enemy under fear, and True Fear and Petrification, which he does place. So more speed would be cool. That would be quite nice. But other than that, maybe this one, to ignore resistance with the A1, decrease turn meter. And then for the pentagonal, there is a mythical one, which I only have once, so I would probably use this one if I had it another time. Increases the wearer's accuracy by 40 when using increased cooldown effects. And yeah, I would probably use that on Fabian if I had it another time. So yeah, that was day one. That was Friday. I had 2 matches. So shout out once again to Nubs for an amazing match, and to Jacobo. Was a pretty cool fight. And yeah, let's move on to the next day. My next match on the next day was against Victor, and I watched Victor's fights on day one, and I saw that he has a very stacked account. Okay, he has a lot of great champions, a lot of high blessings, a lot of empowerments, and I was really scared of this account. Okay, I also know he's a very experienced player. I think he got the clan boss damage record for a very long time and was chasing that. So I remember him from that. And you know, he's a veteran in the game, and he knows things. Okay, he knows the game. He knows what he's doing, and he has an incredible account. And I was, you know, I had a lot of respect and a lot of. I was a little bit scared, to be honest. I was a little bit scared, and I rebuilt my Marius for this. Okay, I knew my best bet is to pick Marius, okay, because he has a +3, almost a +4 Marius. I didn't want to face that at all. That's one thing that I didn't want to face. I knew he had a 3-star Predator, which he didn't even pick a blessing, so I knew he's not going to pick him. I knew that for a fact, okay? I knew he's not going to pick Predator, so I wanted to take the Marius away and save the Marius for me and somehow win. Okay, that was like my thought. Why I picked Marius. And also Marius is a great first pick, always. So yeah, he went with Marichka. I expected that. And Fabian. He also has Fabian and Krixia. So it doesn't matter if I pick Krixia or Fabian. He's going to pick one of them as a counter pick. And yeah, so I went with Predator and Krixia because I also know that he doesn't have Theodosia and Galatea, which is what I would pick. Okay, so you know, he couldn't take that away from me. So that's why I didn't pick them earlier. I really wanted to secure Marius. I wanted to secure Predator. I knew he has a Solinar, so he's gonna pick Solinar, and I know I will probably have to ban this Solinar. So now I went with Kruyen because I wanted to see, is he faster than me? Will he be faster than me? Yes or no? And also, does he want to know if he's faster than me? So if he wouldn't be sure that he's faster than me, he probably would have banned my Kruyen, but he did not do that, which was the right call. That was really the right call, because if he would have left Krixia in it, I would have probably cut in it. So he banned Krixia, like I said, was the right call. And now, you know, in my head, I was already going into this fight. I was already like, I'm going to get locked out no matter what, because I have to ban Solinar. I don't want to face him. Every time I face Solinar, I'm like close to losing. So he's going to be my #1 pick for bans. But also, he will probably ban my lockout, and I have to let his lockout go through. So I was in my mind already prepared to get locked out. And I actually had some ideas on how to counter that, but I didn't have the books and the glyphs and everything to get my Donny ready. But I really wanted to use my Donny more in this tournament, and I think he would have won me a lot of matches, especially here where I have to ban Solinar and risk to get locked out. I think Donny would have, you know, made a lot of fights easier for me. But in the end, it was okay. I was still able to manage it somehow. Now, here's one thing that I don't really like about his R base is that I think he has Evil Eye on the A1. So when he used the A1, he decreased the turn meter because R base doesn't do this with her A1 without the mastery Evil Eye. So I think he has the Evil Eye on the A1, and that triggered the counter attack from Marius. So that wasn't really ideal. And yeah, everyone's locked out on my side. I think, I don't know, I'm not quite sure if Predator evaded or not, but I don't think so. Anyway, he has now the opportunity to block revive my Kruyen. If Fabian would have stripped the stone skin of my Marius or my Predator, I mean more so of my Marius, he could have block revived Marius, which would have been a huge disadvantage for me. And luckily the stone skin, you know, I won the 50-50 on the stone skin. So that was good. That really saved my Marius there from getting block revived. And yeah, that's another layer of RNG that sometimes wins you fights and sometimes loses you fights. If you don't get rid of the stone skin from the enemy, you know, sometimes they survive for too long, then they come back and kill you. Or if your stone skin stays, you have a shot, you know, you have a shot to come back and do your thing. So that's kind of what happened here. But yeah, this was a very, very hard opponent, very, very tough fight. Victor is an experienced guy. He has the Marichka Nice. Nice is always a pain to face, but so is Predator and the 9-piece Mercurial Theodosia. So, and as you can see here, Theodosia with the stone skin now, you know, no way for him to kill her or remove the stone skin, so she will just stand there and take another turn for sure, right? Marius kills with the counterattack. He puts up the block damage. And now Marius almost dies and puts up the Enfeeble. Here the game kind of lagged. I don't know, that was kind of weird because Marichka should have revived them first before Theodosia got a turn, but it is whatever. Nice has the Enfeeble. He knows I can place the Hunter's Gaze on Nice. That's why he swapped forms with our base and put up that taunt and stuff. So that was a really good call there. But now I have the revive ready. And there we go. I think Predator evaded here the fear from Fabian. He locked me out again. Nice is Enfeeble though. He can't really deal damage. So man, I was on the edge here. Okay, I'm feared on my Marius, but I can use the A1 Enfeeble again. So I win the RNG battle 2 times here on this turn against the fear and the 55% on my A1. And that saved me this fight for sure. So I get another kill with Predator, which is massive. All right, you definitely want to get as many kills with Predator as you can to stack up the evasion. The passive needs to be stacked up, otherwise he will just die. He's Enfeebled again, 2 turns. Can't really do much. You know, he kind of has to wait it out. I think the best call here would be to A1. I can't do anything with Marius, you know, he has block damage. Marius can't hit through block damage. Only thing I can do is maybe stun him or Enfeeble, and the stun hit. And also the Enfeeble again. He gets another turn with Nice because my Predator is under decreased speed. Okay, I didn't have the A3 ready, I guess. But yeah, there's not much he can do. He has 1 turn left on the block damage, 1 turn left on the AoE. He has to use the A1. He cannot swap forms. Yeah, that didn't help him, but man, that was a crazy fight. And shout out to Victor. He kind of did everything right, but was just losing to the RNG, to the Enfeeble. And the fears didn't proc on my Marius, so it could have gone the other way. It could have gone the other way, without a doubt. One thing I also need to mention is that I didn't know that if you send the request, you kind of go first. So you make the first pick. I think that's something we should maybe also get rules for. So, you know, maybe the loser picks first. You know, I don't know, maybe you toss a coin on whoever picks first, and then the loser picks first. If it's the best out of 3 or best out of 5, I think that would be fair. And if you pick 2 or 3 times in a row first, the other guy picks first, something like that in a best out of 5. I mean, we pretty much just went on. I didn't really know that you go first when you sent the request. So here I went first, like I picked first. I had the first pick 2 times in a row, which probably, you know, decided the match or played a factor on the, you know, result of the match. If Victor had the first pick in one of those matches, maybe it would have gone differently. Who knows, right? So that's definitely something that can be adjusted, but it's not a huge change. I mean, most of the times we were just talking to each other. Are you gonna send a request or me, you know, or whatever? And we just gonna go like, just send. It's whatever. So we kind of had a agreement, right? So yeah, I picked Marius first. Obviously, I don't want to give him the chance to pick the RNG horse. I want to use my RNG horse, so I went for Marius again. Now this time, he decides not to go with Fabian. He decides to go with Kruysen, and that was pretty cool, actually. You know, to change it up a little bit. I don't know how fast his Kruysen is. I mean, he has a 6-star intimidating presence Kruysen, so I expected it to be very, very fast. And yeah, he picked Hackathon. Man, what a surprise. Hackathon. He went with a champion that I only know from reading the kit. I never saw him in action, really. And I didn't know what to expect. So I was like, what the hell is this? What I'm going to do with this? I don't know what to expect. I don't know how he performs in live arena in this team. No idea. I think maybe even he didn't really know. Also, only the 1-star blessing, and yeah, very very surprise pick. So yeah, very amazing as well to see Hackathon there. He picked Nice and Solinar. Yeah, I had to ban Solinar again. I just hate to play against Solinar. So most of these guys, they probably knew if they're going to pick Solinar, if they have Solinar, you know, they can just build their team, because I'm definitely going to ban Solinar. So all their other picks are going through, and that way they can compose a team pretty, you know, confidently, and knowing they're going to go through. I'm not going to ban them. He banned my Theodosia this time. He didn't want to face my Theodosia again, which I totally understand. The 9-piece Mercurial Theodosia is annoying. Okay, that's annoying to face. And, you know, he can let Fabian through because he has Kruysen. He can lock him out. And if my Fabian locks him out, he can reset. So that was kind of the thing that he did there. But, you know, luckily for me, as you can see here, my Predator got locked out, but he kept the stone skin, so that was a good thing. That was a good thing. He was still protected until he gets a turn, and maybe I can get a kill with him. But now, you know, my Marius is kind of like open in the field, and he can just block revive him, okay? That's what I was saying earlier. Now my Marius is gone, and the only thing that I have left is Predator. But I got the kill on a Hackathon, so that's a 20% evasion. So here I evade already, as you can see, 20% can proc as well. And from here it is all depending on the RNG of Predator. If Predator is not evading anything, I'll be doomed, okay? No way for me to win. And I was also debating, like, should I swap forms here and go a little bit more offense with Galateer? But I also thought he has a nice. You know, Magic Affinity. My Galateer is fairly tanky. He can weak hit him. So I'm just going to stay here and tank the shots. I also have the passive. I'm locked out, but, you know, he probably won't lock me out again until I get the revive ready. And that's why I stayed in the first form and was just waiting it out, basically. Now, it was a good call to place the block debuffs here with Kruysen, but I think he did it a little bit too early. He did it a little bit too early. And he should have done it, you know, like one turn later, and there's a reason for that, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. So yeah, I had the revive here ready actually, but I didn't use it because if I would have used it, it would just swap with nice AoE and kill everybody again. So I kind of saved it for the right moment. And I knew he couldn't, you know, he can't kill my Galateer here. The passive will kick in definitely and save him, you know, get him to 50k HP, and eventually he will just weak hit him and he can survive 1 or 2 turns. But it's also a gamble, you know, you never know what's going to happen exactly. And yeah, here I have the AoE ready again with Predator, and the most important thing I want to do with Predator is get kills in again, okay? Now I got the 60% evasion. And now I can cook, okay? Now I can improve my chances to win. Now here, this right here is a deciding factor of why I won. So Victor decided here to reset the skills, but the right call would have been to place the block debuffs and the increase resistance. And the reason why is that I have the Hunter's Case, the A3 on Predator. I have it ready. So if he would have placed the block debuffs here, he would have risked Predator to counterattack, but also he would have protected Nice to not get block revived, which will happen in a second. Okay. So that was definitely, you know, the decision making here that, you know, cost him the win. I have to say it. So here again, he has the chance again to do it, but he decides to swap forms and lock out, or try to lock out, which could have worked also. Like that could have worked as well, you know. But if he would have placed the block debuffs here, there was no way for me to go around the block damage from Nice, and I wouldn't be able to kill him. And maybe he would have won that way. I'm not saying it would be secured, or I don't want to say he would have secured the win that way, but you know, he would definitely have more chances, because now, as you know, as soon as I get a turn with Predator, I'm going to use the A3 on Nice. And my Predator has the lens. I mean, 155k damage on an Nice. All his allies are alive, so his stats are not stacked up. And yeah, that was pretty much end of the story. He doesn't really have damage with Hackathon. I mean, a little bit, but not really. And now from here, it was just, you know, taking them out one by one with Predator and staying alive and revive and heal. And, you know, that was pretty much it. So 2 things happened here. So for one, he decided to swap forms and try to lock out my Predator. But he also could have used his A2 with Kruysen in the second form, put up the block debuffs, and that way I wouldn't be able to place the Hunter's Case on Nice, and I wouldn't be able to ignore the block damage. And yeah, I think that those 2 moments were the deciding factors in this match. So yeah, almost 6 minutes in this match. I mean, that was a crazy match. Marichka and Nice are such an insane combo together. They keep reviving each other, and you know, the whole team and so on. So yeah, very, very strong team. And once again, huge shout out to Victor. He definitely put up a fight, and I didn't expect to win. I'm going to be 100% honest. I didn't expect to win, but I prepared very well. And I want to show you my Predator and Marius build for this, because in the first match, Marius was kind of my MVP, and in the second fight, it was Predator. So I'm going to show you both. So this is my Marius in a lethal set and stone skin. I also have one piece of Pharaoh for additional accuracy. Here are the stats. 6.7k defense, 297 speed, crit capped obviously, 351 crit damage, and 429 accuracy, which is definitely really good to have on him. I have the Cat's Gaze. Then this gemstone is the Rolling Force legendary triangular gemstone, and it's one of the best triangular gemstones you can give Marius. Now there's the other one, Riposte, with counterattack damage, but this one is really good for his max HP hit, because each consecutive hit after the first one that the wearer makes will ignore 5% of the target's defense. Okay, so that's a huge damage boost. And then the next best one is this right here. When using multi-hit skills, each consecutive hit after the first one that the wearer makes will deal 3% more damage. So more damage on his max HP hits. That's what I'm trying to do with these gemstones here. And then Bloodthirsty Prowess. Every time the wearer kills an enemy, increases the damage dealt by 10%, and 30% more damage is huge. Once you get 3 kills in, his A1 smacks, and also his max HP hit, right? And Cat's Gaze, 5-star Cat's Gaze. Maybe I'm gonna max it at some point. I definitely want one maxed out Cat's Gaze, but I have a couple of relics that I want to prioritize first. I changed this blessing, actually. If you take a look at the fight against Nubs, I had Crushing Rend. That's also when I had like PvE masteries. And Crushing Rend is like a better overall blessing, but Soul Reap is, you know, the best for PvP. And it will also play a huge factor later when I face Kruyen, and it will win me fights, actually. So yeah, true, you know, Soul Reap and the True Fear procs, absolutely amazing for PvP. And these are the masteries. Also, once again, I don't know if they are perfect or not. I'm actually going to move myself out of the way so you can see it perfectly. So I went with the offense and support tree, and I went with this right here. So if he kills someone, he gets more speed. And this right here, when he exceeds 30% of the target's max HP with damage, he has a 30% chance to decrease cooldown of a random skill. I don't know if it procced or not, but that's definitely something that can really win you fights. Helm Smasher, obviously, and I want to get as much damage on his A1 because I knew I'm going to get locked out, okay? I knew I'm going to get locked out, so I want to maximize the damage on his A1 because it's probably going to be my, you know, best shot, okay? My best damage source if I get locked out. Then I changed his masteries from defense to support tree, and I went with more accuracy. But then also Master Hexa, which extends the Enfeeble. We saw it a couple of times. The 2-turn Enfeeble on Nice against Victor definitely won me the fight. And then also Sniper. Increases the chances of placing any debuff from skills or artifacts by 5%. And this works on his A1 as well. He has a 50% chance, if booked, to place Enfeeble. But if you get that, you know, 5 extra percent, that's huge. You know, now you will, like, more than half of the time place the Enfeeble. And this definitely makes a huge difference. Believe it or not, these 5% make a huge difference. And, you know, and you saw it. You saw it in the fights. It you know, it worked. Okay, so this whole rework for Marius, I did this specifically for this tournament. And yeah, changed his blessing and his masteries, and it paid off. Then in the second match, I, you know, pretty much won it just with Predator, and I have him in a lethal set as well with Stone Skin and 1 protection set because it's the best HP banner that I have for this faction. And yeah, these are the stats: 124k HP. Not crazy, to be honest. I wish I could get it up to like 140. That would be amazing, but with the gear I have, I'm not really able to. But you know, still he can smack hard enough with the relic that I have, and I have the 264 speed on him, which is, you know, faster than most people build their Predators. I wish I could get him even faster. I'm not saying that, you know, slower Predators are worse, but I don't know, it feels like 260, 270 is kind of like a sweet spot where I want to be at, because I don't want to get outlapped too much. You probably saw it, like the Nice took 2 free turns while my Predator was taking 1 turn. So I would probably even love to get him faster without, you know, I don't know. I don't want to risk to be too fast and then, you know, face enemies with stone skin so I can't get kills, because if you can't get kills with Predator, his evasion doesn't stack up. So I get why people want to build him slower, but at the same time you don't want to get outlapped too much and depend on the RNG too much. So I would rather have him a little bit faster, and you kind of have to find a sweet spot for what kind of accounts you are facing, because sometimes I was facing, like, you know, a little bit weaker accounts than mine. They were not that fast and I would kind of outrun them, and then I would, you know, be in a situation where I didn't get kills with Predator and so on. That happens, but most of the times I face like strong accounts that are relatively fast and faster than me. So yeah, I feel like more speed is even better on him. So I, you know, once I get a 6-star soul on Predator, he will be at like 284, and I think that's cool. Like 290, 280, that's where I want to be at. So crit capped and 357 crit damage, 244 accuracy, and this is the relic I have on him, and that's the reason why he smacks so hard. The wearer ignores 10% of a target's defense at the start of a round, places a perfect veil buff, and the wearer ignores an additional 5% defense while under veil or perfect veil. So he places the veil naturally already, right? Then I have also Theodosia that places veil. I have Galathier. That's why I play them together all the time, because they can provide the veil as well. And it's a very nice synergy with this relic. And, you know, 15, 30% defense ignore on top of the 25 that I get here from lethal. It's already 55 def ignore. And then if Helm Smasher procs from the masteries, I have the double counterattack masteries, which also proc like 1 or 2 times in one of the matches. But with Helm Smasher, you know, I get another 25% def ignore, so I can theoretically go up to like 80% def ignore for a Predator. That is pretty insane. Okay, this attack here will ignore another 15% if he's under veil, so that's almost 100% def ignore. All right, and if I kill somebody, the next attack will ignore 12% more def, so I can definitely reach the 100% def ignore. That's what I'm trying to say. So once once everything is lined up perfectly, he will smack. You know, he will smack absolutely. And yeah, I have the bloodthirsty prowess on him as well. So for one, the triangular gives me 12% more def ignore after killing someone. Every time he kills someone, he gets 10% more damage. Then I also made him a little bit tankier, okay, with the bolstered defense, and also this rare gemstone, which I figured to be very interesting because the wearer deals 5% more damage to targets under a shield buff per each buff on the target. So if they have lightning cage, stone skin, shield, I don't know, whatever, you know, he's gonna do a lot more damage, 20-25% more damage on top. That's a lot of damage, okay? And that really helps sometimes to break the stone skin even. You know, when it's already damaged a little bit, you can break it definitely with Predator, and that is pretty cool. Now, if I would have the counterattack triangular gemstone riposte, I would probably use that one, okay? That's probably the best in slot here. But I don't have it, so that's the one going with. I went with Lightning Cage to protect his stone skin and perfect veil, just in case. And then once again here the masteries, I went with double counterattack, deterrence, and also retribution, and then House Smasher. So yeah, then the next fight, I mean, this was one of my worst nightmares, and I knew, like, you know, if I win the first couple fights, I will probably most likely face either Kruyen or Drock first, like one of those two. And you know, those two are kind of like the strongest accounts, or were the strongest accounts in this tournament. And yeah, man, you don't really want to face either of them, okay? So they are very experienced, very passionate players, and you know, have very stacked accounts. So all of this, you know, they probably have more experience with all of the mythicals than me, and also more experience in high-end arena in general. But you know, I don't know. I somehow managed to stand my ground, I guess. Somehow. Okay, so Kruyen took away my RNG horse. He didn't want to deal with that, so I picked my RNG Predator, right? I know his Galateer is very fast. I know he has a Theodosia. He has pretty much everything, so it doesn't really matter what I pick. He can he can pick it too, right? So Galateer, yeah, he has a very fast Galateer. I know that from watching his content. So I also know that he doesn't have lots of resistance on him. He rather goes with a very, very fast build. And the thing is, here, I also know he has Solinar. So same situation almost with, like, as with Victor. He has Solinar, which I'm probably going to ban. And he also knows that. So he's going to pick him and make me ban him, okay? One thing that I don't know is if he has Fabian Build, but I think he does. I think he does. I mean, I would expect it, but I didn't really know. So I just went with Krixia because I didn't want to face his Krixia, right? But he definitely could have went with like Galateer and Theodosia after the Marius pick. But he got the Heal V. And we are about to find out that it's a very, very fast Heal V. So that definitely surprised me. I picked Embrace because he got my Marius. And I was debating if I should go with Karnage. But yeah, I went with Embrace just because I was facing two Magic Affinity champions. Okay, so Joanne and Nice. So I thought like maybe I should go with another Force Affinity champion and have the affinity advantage at least. But yeah, in the end, he banned my Krixia. I think that was a good call. I banned his Hilvi because I was thinking I'm probably going to go first, you know. Let me go first here. And then his Galateer is under Mercurial, okay? So I didn't know that. I did not know that. I thought he had a very fast Galateer, but I think he rebuilt him. So that was a surprise to me. I did not know this. And yeah, I stripped down the stone skin. I think that was a good call. But yeah, man, his Marius is fast. Luckily, my Predator got 1 kill, so that was good. So I got 20% evasion right there, so that was already huge for me personally. Now I had to see if I can, you know, can I kill the Nice? But I wasn't able to. So my A2 wasn't hitting hard enough. And then he just, you know, my Predator only had 20% evasion and it didn't work, so he got the job done. There was no coming back from this. Yeah, even though Nice weak hit on the first hit, the second hit crit, and he got my Predator down, and that was it. RNG didn't work for me this time. And then I saw my Embrace doesn't have gear on. You know, was missing a helmet, and we're gonna talk about that later on as well. Because look who I am taking this helmet off. Wait a second. So, yeah. So it's, you know, this thing, what I'm doing right here, this move that I'm equipping Embrace with his gear, is probably gonna backfire later. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to the second match. So this time I sent the request and I got the first pick and I picked Marius. I wanted to pick my horse because I knew he doesn't want to face my RNG horse. Okay. But the thing that he can do now is just pick my best revivers or, you know, Predator. So he did. He knows, you know, I'm picking Predator. I love my Predator. So he's going to take away my weapon. And I picked his revivers. And he said something like, I know what you're about to do. And so yeah, it's exactly what I did, right? Picked his Theodosia and his Galatea. He went with Kruysen and Hilvi. I went with Fabian and Karnage. First, I was debating should I go with Empress, but you know, I kind of kept Karnage, and obviously last pick Solinar, which I'm about to ban. So yeah, the chances were really high that I'm gonna get locked out here. Either I'm gonna get frozen, or I'm gonna get locked out. But yeah, luckily, and this is where, you know, this is what happens to me a lot in Arena. So for one, here I won the Stone Skin battle. Okay, I kept the Stone Skin on my Marius. Hilvi was not able to strip it, and then also my Marius got the 3% on Krixier's lockout. So from there, I had a huge moment. You know, I had momentum on my side because I was going before him. Definitely, I'm about to nuke. Predator doesn't have a kill yet, so that's good, right? And he still evades everything. But I got Krixien and Hilvi out of the way, so that was already good. Okay, that already put me in a good position. I have 2 strong revivers. Galatea, very tanky with increased defense. Theodosia with total guard stacks as well. And yeah, I'm probably gonna be fine, okay, for a second at least. Now, I knew he's about to block revive either Marius or Karnage. And he did, Marius. That was a good call. Now, here, he could have block revived my Karnage here. Okay, so that's something, I don't know why he didn't do it. But he used the A2. I think maybe he thought like he can kill Galatea as well. I don't know. Maybe he was also just playing around. I don't know what it is. But he could have probably block revived my Karnage, but also at the same time maybe he would have weak hit. I don't know if he was worrying about that, maybe. But yeah, here I had the A3 on cooldown, and I wanted to block the passives. I didn't want Nice to transform. I got the block active skills with Galatea on, so I got a little bit of control. I'm in a very good position here. And yeah, now I have the A3 ready, and I play, you know, Predator wasn't evading. I was really hoping he wouldn't evade that. And I won the RNG battle there against Predator. He didn't get too many kills. I think he only got 1, right? So that's something, that's what won me the fight basically. But then again, he has that Xibias on his Nice, and man, that Nice is so hard to kill. I mean, it's so annoying on this champion. Nice is just OP with this relic. If you build him right, so hard to kill. But in the end, we got it done. Here I was even debating, should I stun or what should I do? I don't want him to take a turn at all. I don't want him to kill Karnage. And yeah, I knew he didn't have a wand, so he cannot reflect the stun. So I'm definitely going to be able to stun him. And that got me the win. And I'm super happy. Like, got the win against Kruyen that I didn't really expect. RNG, like the 3% won me the fight 100%. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had the chance at all. Okay, so that's what won me the fight. And then the third time, it was pretty much the same, just that he went with Fabian instead of Krixia. And yeah, we pretty much had the same picks, just with Fabian instead of Krixia. But this time, you know, he removed the stone skin of both of my champions, and that you know, set him up perfectly to block revive both of them. He also locked them out. And yeah, I just had the A1s. I was faster than his champions as well, so you know, didn't really matter though. Like, it's whatever. Couldn't kill the Hilvy, so that was kind of weird. That was kind of a weird thing with Karnage, very tanky Hilvy. So now he block revived. My Marius block revived Karnage, and yeah, GG's. That was it. That was our first, you know, the first time we met. I think I never fought Kruysen before, actually, and he block revived both of my champions, and that was the right call, and he got it done. And then he moved on, and I moved down to the loser bracket. All right, so now let's talk about my Karnage build. I have him in Lethal Stone Skin. I'm currently working on Swift Parry, right? I want to put him in like Swift Parry Stone Skin, especially now that Swift Parry got reworked. And it's definitely going to be a lot more interesting to do so. And yeah, these are the stats right here. So 6.4k attack, 284 speed, crit capped, 300 crit damage. I don't want him to deal too much damage, so he can't place the debuffs, right? So 300 is all right. And 559 accuracy. I wish I could get that to like 600. That would be amazing. Maybe even higher than that. I have the wand on him with these gemstones, which is pretty cool. This gives him more turn meter every time he places debuffs, even if he spreads the debuffs. And then he gets more turn meter increase here from Invigorated. And he's completely booked. Intimidating Presence. He's probably he's one of my 2 champions that have 6-star Intimidating Presence alongside Shuzan. And then here are the masteries. Okay, so these are the masteries that I'm using with him, and maybe I will change that because I haven't touched those in like forever. You know, I haven't touched those in like forever since I got him. I will probably change those a little bit around, maybe even go with Master Hexa just to extend those debuffs since I'm playing around them anyway. And yeah, maybe even go for Eagle Eye. Not quite sure yet. But yeah, that's pretty much all about Karnage. I mean, what an amazing champion. Even his second form, you know, if you manage to place 2 or more debuffs, you can ignore Unkillable, and there are not many champions that can ignore Unkillable. Unfortunately, it is conditional, but it is what it is. This skill is one of the strongest skills in the entire game because you block passives, you block actives, and you steal 100% turn meter. So he kind of like goes again. And this is, you know, very, very underrated by a lot of people. I mean, he is kind of squishy since he's an attack nuker, but this skill right here and the passive of spreading those, and also the passive effect on his A1 that he counterattacks, that makes him one of the best champions for this current meta because of total guard stacks and all the passives that are going around. He's one of my favorite nukers, hands down, and I'm definitely gonna, you know, work on his build a lot more in the future, and you know, try to min-max his builds, and go for Swift Parry instead of lethal, and then maybe eventually, at some point, for a 9-piece Mercurial Karnage. That would be amazing, but we will see. All right, next up was a match against Drock. So Drock lost against Kruysen earlier and moved to the losers bracket, then kept on winning to the losers bracket finale, and I lost against Kruysen in the winners bracket finale. So I had to fight against Drock, and then the winner of that fight gonna fight against Kruysen again. Okay, so it was a very interesting tournament in general because I faced Kruysen 2 times and Drock 1 time. So those two guys were the ones that I feared the most. You know, I have so much respect for those guys because I know they know what they're doing. Okay, they've been playing high-end arena for a very long time, and I'm also experienced, but not as much as they are because they have those champions, and you only fully understand the champion once you use them for a longer time. You know, when to use what in the right situations, decision making, how to build them, and so on. It's only when you really play with them, that you fully understand everything. And yeah, so he did, you know, he didn't want me to have my Marius. He has a +4 Marius that already scared me a little bit. I know he also has all the other champions that I have, so I wanted to make sure I get those. I also picked Predator first because I know he hates RNG. I know he hates RNG, and maybe he's gonna ban him or not. I don't know, but you know, it could be a possible ban for him, right? I know how much he hates RNG and polymorph and so on from his content. I was also watching his content, right? Or been watching his content. And I also know he has Solinar, right? I also know he has Solinar. Him, Victor, and Kruysen, all of them had Solinar. And I kind of like had the same mindset going into those fights. So again, I pick, you know, he picks Fabian, I pick Krixia, I pick Karnage. And then I was debating, should I pick Hegemon? But then I reminded myself that his Fabian is under Stone Skin, so there's no point. I'm not gonna snipe his Fabian through Stone Skin with a 3-star blessing on Hegemon. That's not gonna happen. And he has a nice, so I'm definitely gonna ban Solinar. And there we go. I got the 6-star Karnage, Intimidating Presence, also on Kruysen, but the big Karnage aura made sure I go first. And I don't know how fast this Galathir is, but he, you know, seems like he's very fast. And that was a very unorthodox decision what I just did here. Okay, so most people would probably boost or give an instant turn, but what was I supposed to do? Like if I boost here, Marius will counterattack. I will lose a stack on Theodosia, total guard stack. I will take damage on the Stone Skin. And most likely Fabian's gonna go next anyway, lock me out, and Galathir can do whatever he wants. So in my mind, I was like, maybe I should just A1 on Galathir and hope to place the block active skills, which could be a lot more control over the enemy team if Galathir can only A1. And that's, you know, again, I won the 50-50. I think it's a 50-50% chance. You know, it's a 50% chance to place the block active skills on an A1. And once you place it, you have a 100% chance to steal 20% turn meter as well. But, you know, the initial placement of the block active skills is a 50% chance when booked. And, you know, that's what worked for me. Luckily, right? Luckily. Also, another thing is that now that Galathir has to use the A1, he will attack all my champions, and that will maximize the chance that my Karnage will counterattack, and he spread the block active skills to Fabian. That was like, I don't know. I was theoretically thinking about this, like maybe this will happen, but all of this is like, you know, 50% chance here is, you know, this amount of percent chance here that this happens, that he spreads the debuffs, that I place the block active skills, and it worked out. Then also, my Stone Skin was holding on Karnage, so he didn't die. Predator got a kill from the counterattack, and from there I knew, okay, I'm good. Like for now, I'm okay. For now, I'm okay. I got a kill on Predator. My Theodosia is still alive. He's not gonna one-shot her. He has block active skills on Galathir and Fabian. I know Karnage is about to get block revived by Nice, so I'm just gonna swap forms and use the AoE and do as much damage as possible. And that's also exactly what I did. So I knew what he's gonna do next, right? Block revive, Karnage, boom. And yeah, now I'm able to get kills with Predator again, okay? Again, once again, it's so important to get kills with Predator to stack up his passive. So now I got 2 kills, that's 40% evasion. Very, very important. If I don't stack up the evasion, like Predator will get controlled, will get damaged, will die eventually. Boom, another kill. That's 60% now. And from here on, you know, I don't need more, like I need to win now, right? I don't need more kills. I have the 60% evasion. On Predator, it doesn't get better than that. Now I need to get rid of Nice. And Nice, you know, Predator is so strong against Nice, but look at this. Like, You know, I have the Hunter's Gaze on nice, which means I ignore everything. Okay, I ignore everything. His defense, everything. But I can't kill him. 84k damage because his stats are so stacked up from his passive that he has such a high HP pool. And then I decided to revive here. I don't know if that was the right call. I could have used the A2 as well. I didn't want to A1 him because he would counterattack. But here, this was big as well. He still had the counter, what's it called? Hunter's Gaze. He used the AoE. My Predator evaded. I don't know why he used the AoE there. That was a mistake, in my opinion. He should have just A1'd somebody else but Predator, so Predator wouldn't counterattack, and then maybe he would have survived. But now, because now he took damage from the counterattack from Predator because the Hunter's Gaze was still on nice, and I was able to kill him with the A2, which I don't know. Maybe it would have still killed him, but you know, I don't know. Maybe he still had a chance to heal up with the A1 by attacking somebody else instead of taking damage by using the AoE attack. So yeah, shout out to Drock, man. That was an amazing fight. I didn't think I could beat Drock at all. Like I don't know, if we fight like 10 times, I think he would beat me like 8 or 9 times out of those 10 fights. So yeah. The second match went pretty much like almost the same in terms of picks. He picked Marius first. I picked Predator and Theodosia again. But this time he went with Kruysen. He picked Galatea again. He had him last match too. So I kind of had to pick Fabian. And then he picked Solinar and Arn. So I'm not very familiar with Arn. I know he does kind of a couple of things. Like I know he can deal good damage. I know he smacks and he has this attack 1 by 1 and ignore stuff. So I knew he's very dangerous as well. You know, I was thinking like, you know what? I'm just gonna use Harima, try to stall a little bit, like with her passive. And Drock said like, nah, I'm not gonna deal with this Predator RNG again. I hate this guy. It was probably the right call. He didn't pick nice though, which was surprising to me. Pretty cool that he picked like different champions. Yeah, I got locked out. Like all my champions got locked out. He killed my Fabian. Not my Karnage though. Harima does a great job with her passive there. But the thing is, if you paid attention earlier, I moved my Harima helmet to Embrace. So yeah, Harima wasn't really doing anything. Let me actually see if I can find it. But yeah, she was pretty much just doing nothing at all. But you know, we got Marius out of the way at least, and now let's see. I don't know if she gets feared or not. Oh yeah, she got feared. So let me check. So yeah, also cool thing with Arn is he has this passive where he revives when he dies. He revives himself with block damage, and then he has a death brand. Okay, that's he's placing death brand, and then he can block revive you, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool skill, and that's how he got rid of Karnage. But here you can see the damage of Harima is not existent. Yeah, I don't know, like not even critical, and then it's like 6k something, I think. And yeah, that's because I had I moved the helmet from her to Embrace earlier. So I had Embrace without gear earlier on the fight. Now I had Harima without a helmet, but I don't think it would have changed much. Okay, I have to be fair, I don't think it would have changed much. I think the outcome would have been still the same in this match. So yeah, in the end, was no problem for him. You know, he just got me down, no problem. And there you can see the missing artifacts on Harima, the missing helmet. So yeah, this time I'm picking first, going with Predator. I don't want him to have Predator at all. I'm picking Marius. He picks Galatea and Theodosia. He picks both of my revivers. So I'm saying like, you know what? I'm gonna pick your Marius. First I was debating should I pick both lockouts. But you know, it's not really ideal to pick both lockouts because then the enemy can just, you know, the opponent can just play around that, like say like, okay, I'm gonna get locked out, but you know, I'm gonna pick these champions now. And you kind of waste a slot. Sometimes it works, but most of the time it's not really good if the opponent knows how to deal with it. And yeah, so he picked my supports, like he picked my revivers. I don't have any other revivers built very well other than those two. I mean, those two are the best ones in the game, kinda. He picked Fabian, so now I knew I kind of have to go, you know, I have to go all in and fast and smack and, you know, seal the deal. I can't have this being a very long match. I have to go like full offense because I don't have good supports. No point, right? I won't survive that. So I went with Necrid, okay? I have a not very fast, but a fast Necrid. My Kruysen is very fast. And yeah, I know Drock doesn't like Predator, okay? So there's a chance where he might ban Kruysen or Predator. That was my guess. That's what I expected. Or Krixia. Sorry, Krixia or Predator. And he went for Predator. He didn't want to deal with the RNG. He picked Garrow, which is a good pick, like not bad. Okay, that's a good pick. I'm first, and you can see right here I'm debating should I boost or should I give an instant turn. Fabian's turn meter is very close to Krixia's. Galatea's turn meter is full, right? So there's a chance that if I boost, I don't know if they have stars or supersonic or whatever. I don't know if they're gonna cut in. So I was thinking like I'm just gonna go save mode, instant turn on Krixia, and lock him out. And you can see on his Fabian, I didn't know Drock has a high resistance Fabian, but okay, we got the 3% on Fabian here, which kind of surprised me because I missed it during the match. And then once Fabian got a turn, he went and locked me out, and I was like, what? You can even see it on the screen here. I'm like, look at my face, like, what? I'm like, what? What is going on? Why is he not locked out? I have a 800 accuracy Krixia. Why is this Fabian not locked out? But that's the power of RNG in this game. You never know what's gonna happen. And this happens a lot to me, more than you would think. Okay, I have bunch of nukers resisting my Krixia like they have 1500 resistance. All right, that's the reality of live arena in Raid Shadow Legends. And then his Garrow swap forms, ready to annihilate my team. But my Marius, I love my horse, my Marius puts up the Amphibu and damages her enough to not go under 50%. So that's something that a lot of people maybe missed. Like if Garrow would have dropped here below 50% HP, she would unlock her secret skill, buff her up, remove debuffs, and get an extra turn, get rid of the Amphibu, and then she could nuke my entire team. But my Marius doesn't hit hard enough to get his Garrow under 50%. Okay, my Marius is not built like that, okay? And that won me the fight. So he went with the A1, I believe, and man, I was able to reset with Krixia now. Okay, I was able to reset, and now go with Marius. Okay, max HP hits, stunned Galatea, Soul Reap, ally attack. Okay, the passive saved him, and then the A1 from Necrid sealed the deal. and I got it done. Man, I was actually so happy about this. Yeah, I didn't expect to win against Drock. Like Drock and Kruysen, I knew if I'm gonna face them, it's gonna come down to RNG if I win or not. Okay, so yeah, the RNG here kind of favored us both in some form. You know, his Fabian resisted, but then his Garo got enfeebled and so on. So many things that happen during these fights that are deciding who's gonna win. And that really shows you how versatile or how different matches can be with all the RNG involved, all the passives, chances, relics, gemstones, masteries. All these things play a role, a huge factor, and you never know really what's going to happen. You can plan your strategy out, but you know, you can't be 100% sure that it's going to happen that way. Which some people don't like, but I think it brings a little bit more excitement to the whole fights. I don't want to say like too much RNG is good. I think there should be a certain amount of RNG, but not RNG only. Okay. Now moving on to the grand finale against Kruysen again. That was only like, please, not again, man, not again. You know. Those are kind of the type of accounts when players you don't really want to face. Like it's very challenging. It's very challenging. Here we didn't know if the fight was already on stream or not, so we kind of left the battle and restarted again. And yeah, so we already fought, and he beat me 2-1. So now I was like, man, I gotta get one more win against him, okay? At least one more. He picked Predator first because he knows my best shot is Predator RNG against him, right? So, pretty good pick. And yeah, again, Solinar and so on. I banned Solinar. I'm definitely gonna ban Solinar. He knows that. So, yeah, I went with Karnage, Marius, Theodosia, and Necrid, and he won the stone skin battle here. Okay, he removed both stone skins on Karnage and Marius and locked me out after that. And yeah, there's nothing much I can do about that. He would just absolutely annihilate me with Predator. Boom, 28 seconds, 130k damage on my Theodosia. GG's, right? Like he just steamrolled me, and that kind of woke me up a little bit. So then first pick again for me, I picked Predator. Now it's my Predator, right? And this was actually a pretty good fight. I really loved this one. He picked Galateer, Theodosia, took the revivers. I took Marius and Krixia. Now he went for Joanne and Solinar. And I think Nice was the last pick. I went with Shuzan. So when Necrid, and I tested, like I know his Galateer and Theodosia are in Mercurial. So I need to have a way to get rid of that, right? And that's where Necrid is great, okay? Necrid is absolutely, one of the best for that. So, yeah, I didn't know if I'm gonna take a turn with Necrid if I boost here, because his Galateer is relatively fast as well. Maybe I would have, but I wanted to make sure and just, instant turn. Like previously with Krixia, I just gave an instant turn to Necrid. Used the ally attack here to get rid of the total guard stacks, right? So his A1 will hit 3 times, get rid of the total guard, and then Marius will deal damage with the A1. And that's exactly what I did here. Boom. Theodosia almost dead. Okay. That was pretty clutch, to be honest. Also, I took 1 stack of Galateer with Marius, his A1. And now I took a turn with Marius. Used the A2. Didn't really do much, right? Like Nice still has the stone skin. Joanne still has a stone skin. I mean, they are pretty, like all of them have total guard. Like Theodosia and Galateer have total guard. Joanne has probably high resistance. And then he decided to try to block revive my Kruyen. Didn't work, so he wasn't able to. He transformed with Joanne. I counterattacked with Marius. Boom, killed the Theodosia with Soul Reap, so my Soul Reap procced already. Counterattacked again, I think, because he's decreasing turn meter. I'm not quite sure why I counterattacked there, but yeah, I think she's decreasing turn meter. I'm not quite sure. And then here I decided to block revive Joanne. So I could have used A2, but I didn't want to trigger that counter attack from her, and I didn't want Nice to transform yet. And I also probably wouldn't be able to kill Galateer. So I decided to get a kill with Predator, you know, a safe kill, stack up his evasion, and then go from there. Ally attacked on Nice with Necrid, and I was really hoping I could kill him with this ally attack, because I had Marius and Predator on the ally attack, but it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough, and I couldn't get it done. So he puts up the block damage, and now he's pretty much safe because I already used A3 on Joanne. You know? Got the Enfeeble again. That really helped me. Marius, I mean, my Marius likes to put the Enfeeble, but he has the cleanse, okay? He had the cleanse. I have to use the A2 now to get a kill or deal damage. I didn't want to risk it with the A1. I don't know if it was enough damage. My Predator evaded, counterattacked Galateer. Now that's pretty interesting. He hits my Marius. My Marius attacks uses the A1 because he's provoked. Galateer counterattacks because of the damage that he takes and kills my Marius. So that was pretty interesting. He heals up, back again. A1 on my Predator. Now I have the choice. Am I going to use the A1, heal up, and hope I'm evading? Or use the block revive skill and hope I deal enough damage, which I'm probably not going to do because his Nice is tanky as hell, and 2 dead allies means he has more stats. So I decided to go the RNG route and just use the A1. Heal up a bit. He revived. And then he used the A2 with his Nice, and boom, crit me. No weak hit, no evasion. That's, you know, that's sometimes how it goes. The RNG is not always on your side. Now the third fight, that's where I stood my ground a little bit. Okay, so again, Predator for me, first pick. He goes with Galateer Theodosia. I go with Krixia and Marius. Kind of like the same picks. He goes with Nice and Joanne. I mean, I don't have a Nice or Joanne. I cannot pick those. And this time I went with Karnage instead of Kruyen and Necrid. So basically, what I was doing here is go with 3 nukers and just hope my stone skin is holding, okay? Just hope they will survive so I can get some kills. That's all I was hoping here, all right? He went with Commodus and he said, you know what? Bye-bye Necrid. I'm going to ban your Necrid because I'm running Commodus. And I was like, even if you don't ban Necrid, I'm still going to ban your Commodus because my Necrid is going to protect Marius. And if you, even if you don't ban him, you can probably still bump my Karnage. All right? He's Spirit Affinity. There's no chance to weak hit or whatever. So, he will probably die to Commodus, and I don't want that. So I'm going to ban him. And yeah, I think it was the right call in the end. So his Galateer goes first, boosts and heals. He decided to go a little bit more offensive with Theodosia to strip the stone skin. Wasn't able to do it. Luckily for me, RNG was on my side. Now I decided to go with ally attack so I can get rid of the decreased defense. Right? So I'm going with ally attack, to, getting rid of the total guard stacks as well. And now I can also put up the A3, the ally protection and block debuffs and so on. And I decided to go with Karnage because Karnage doesn't have much protection, right? He just has the stone skin where Predator can evade, has stone skin, veil, and Marius is already protected by Necrid. Necrid is block revived, so goodbye. Marius absolutely massive A2 here. True Fear on Galatier, True Fear on Nice, which is why he didn't transform. That was huge. Galatier is using the he's using the A1 now because he doesn't want to risk losing a skill. Karnage counterattacked. And this is a very interesting situation here because he has increased resistance on his Galatier. But I have increased accuracy on my Karnage. I knew his Galatier, or like in my mind, was like his Galatier is has probably not crazy resistance because he's in 9-piece Mercurial, and there's no way he has that good gear like with 800, 900 resistance or 1000 resistance. Like I can't imagine that. So first I was debating, should I go for Nice or should I go for Galatier? But then I was thinking like, man, if I'm not hitting this with an increased accuracy buff on Galatier, then I don't know. Then I don't know what's up. So I decided to go for Galatier, put up the block passives, boom, and transferred it to Nice because I killed him and Predator did the rest. Nice didn't transform. Karnage plus Predator got the job done. So again, first pick for me. Predator on my side again. Galatier, Theodosia. Same picks pretty much, okay? He went with Solinar and Nice. And this time he picked Fabian actually, and he's about to lock me out. Now he has 6-star temporal chains on Fabian, which is going to trigger my Marius instantly, the A1. Almost kills him. Fabian is dead right there. He's healing. And I'm already like, I'm leaned back like, okay, let him do his thing. I don't know if I'm gonna survive this another turn. Not quite sure. I know as soon as he takes a turn with Nice, he's gonna block revive my Karnage. I'm expecting that, so I'm just gonna transform and deal as much damage as possible. But two of them have stone skin. One has total guard. I'm not gonna do much, so Karnage is just decoration there in that situation. And yeah, boom, got block revived by Nice. Was a good play. Galatier takes a turn, like uses the A1 boosts, and now my Predator is ready to go. Doesn't have kills yet, no kills at all, so no extra damage, no evasion stacked. But you know what? I'm gonna use the A2 and see what happens. It's the best I can do. The A3 is not going to do anything. And boom, look at that. 80, I don't know. I can't really see it. Let's take a look again. I think it was 80, like 15k. And then it was, I don't know if it's 135 or 185. Not quite sure, but man, that Theodosia got deleted, okay? I triggered the passive of Nice. He transforms. Marius counterattacks, kills Galatier. So now it's only Nice left. So all of a sudden, suddenly, I'm in a very good position. He AoEs, kills Necrid, revives. What's it called? Fabian. I kill Fabian with Marius. But man, that Nice is just so tanky, so hard to kill with the relic, with 3 dead allies. What an absolute monster, okay? You don't want to face this champion with this relic, with those builds. No thank you, but Predator is just built different. and killed. Nice. So it was a 2-2. Okay, 2-2 going into the last fight. I did not expect this at all. I was thinking like he will, you know, steamroll me in 3 fights and that's gonna be it. But this time he picked Predator. I picked Theodosia and Galateer. I didn't want him to have those mercurial builds, right? And he picked Marius and Krixia. So that left me with Karnage and Embrys. Okay. He went with Solinar and Hilvi. Solinar I expected, and Hilvi as well, because I have Galateer and Theodosia, and it's probably the next best reviver that he has. And I knew for a fact that his Marius doesn't have Stone Skin, okay? I knew for a fact he doesn't have Stone Skin on his Marius. And also, his Hilvi doesn't have Stone Skin. So now, 2 of those champions... I'm going to ban Solinar. So I'm going to let 2 champions through without Stone Skin. Let me pick Hegemon. Let me pick Hegemon. The only thing that was... why I was worried about it is that I didn't know if I had put gear on him. So it was a gamble, but it was also my best shot. It was my best shot. You know. Now his choice is either to ban one of my revivers or Hegemon. But he said like, you know what? I'm going to let it through. Like, let's see what happens. So he took the risk, okay? He said, I respect it. I'm going to let it through. And shout out to Kruyen for doing that, because that, you know, because of that, it was a very close fight. It was a very, very close fight. So now, as you can see, we have Hilvi without Stone Skin, Marius without Stone Skin in, you know, what's it called? Pinpoint. Not quite sure what build that is. But yeah, no Stone Skin on him, so got rid of them, okay? So all of a sudden, it's 3 against 2. Now, bad thing here is that Predator evaded and boom, killed Hegemon. So he got 1 kill already there, okay? So that's already 20% evasion, all right? So even if I now revive... like, even if I don't revive and he kills Karnage and Embrys, he will still get up to 60% evasion. So it didn't really matter what I do here. He will lock me out next turn and he will kill me because my champions, my nukers are faster than his Predator. So it didn't really matter what I do here. So he locked me out. Boom. I got the unkillable still on Theodosia, so that was good. Almost killed Krixia here, did kill her with the A1s. Now he's gonna use the AoE, kill everybody. Embrys has the passive, obviously. He stacks up to 60% evasion. Now it's 60-40, okay? 60-40 is gonna decide this match. So I use the A1, he evades. Boom. Goodbye, Total Guard. Now the deciding moment. A3. Am I going to HP swap? Which would maybe seal the deal. Maybe not. But no, he's evading. Boom. Amber's dead. I have another turn here until Stone Skin, which would give me more turns to get the revive back. But, you know, if Predator wouldn't counterattack here, I wouldn't lose the Total Guard. And I would have survived another turn. Put up the Stone Skin, revive, and then maybe, only maybe, have a chance again. So yeah, Predator RNG, my strategy beat me in the end, and it was an absolute amazing fight. It was a back and forth here with Kruysen, and I had an absolute blast over this whole event. I watched every fight. I'm a huge fan of this platform. Void Crown Arena is doing an amazing job, the whole team. I love this concept. The tournaments are amazing. People are already setting up tournaments, so if you are interested in PvP, definitely go ahead and check it out. And yeah, shout out to Kruyen, man. That was so much fun, and I didn't have that much fun in a very, very long time in the whole tournament. Like all of the guys that I faced, that was amazing. Starting from the first match, which got me on the edge of my seat with the nice from Nubs, to Victor with the Amphibials, to winning against Drock, which I never imagined that I could beat him, but somehow I did. And entering the grand finale, that was amazing. I did not expect this at all. And yeah, huge shout out to everybody that participated. And I hope we can do more things like this, because I really think it's so entertaining, not only for me to participate in it, but also to watch the other guys. I was really watching every single fight of this tournament, and I also got to talk a lot of these content creators, and I'm really, really happy about the opportunity here. And yeah, it was very, very fun, and I never expected to come that far in this tournament. So yeah, if you're interested in those tournaments, go ahead and check it out. It's really, really fun. If you're interested in PvP, as you can see, Ash is doing daily tournaments with $50 prizes. 64 players are joining this. Okay, so then the tournament number 2 is maybe with 32 players. I don't know how many exactly, but that's tomorrow, okay? And then the day after tomorrow is going to be another one. So you can set up tournaments here, or there will be tournaments from people with prize money, okay? So you can just click on this tournament, say you want to register now. You will see the rules here and everything. When is it going to start? And if you need any help with anything, you can just contact the mods on the Discord and apply to these tournaments, and eventually win prize money, okay? And also have a lot of fun. So definitely go ahead and check it out. And also the Discord, I will put everything in the description below and also in the pinned comment. And yeah, what an amazing idea. I really love this whole thing. And yeah, I think this is going to be a long video, so sorry guys if it's a little bit too long, but I just wanted to cover all the fights that I had this past weekend, and also share a lot more light on this platform, because I think this is one of the best things that happened to Raid Shadow Legends. And the only thing that I don't like about it is that we didn't have it like 2 years ago already. Okay, so with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for everybody that's new to the channel, that's coming because of this tournament. I'm maybe gonna dive a little bit more into PvP content. I already started covering it a little bit, at least sieges. I also have a siege video coming up from last week, which kind of got a little bit delayed because of that tournament, and then I got a couple other things to do as well, real life and so on. So yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, very important, it really goes a long way. Also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more raid content. The YouTube algorithm is going to suggest you a video that you might like right here, and see you in the next one.